Chapter 21. Merrick stands next to me, the entire pack of lycans watching anxiously from the center of the new town square. I wish I would have been able to have a moment alone with him before we started all of this, but this is the life I have to get used to. There are far more important things than me, especially with traitors among us here in the pack and the red-eyed wolves who seem to have it out for him. My light blue dress ruffles in the wind, my hair tickling my cheek as tensions grow. I reach out, touching his hand, hoping he picks up my nerves and maybe wraps it up in his. He doesn't. Instead, he slides his hands into his pocket and looks in the opposite direction, making my heart lurch in fear. And quat. As you all know, there has been a new member in our pack these past few weeks. And quat, Merrick says, looking out at the crowd. And quat. Many of you have seen her in training down at the lake or roaming around the hiking trails. Today I would like to introduce her to you. He slides his icy gaze to me, my heart skipping a beat at the lack of warmth in his eyes. If I didn't trust the words he has told me many times, I would think he hates me. He places his hand out before me, waiting for me to place mine in his palm. I hesitate for a moment before accepting it, and he pulls me forward with him. The pack members watch me, waiting for something to happen. And quat. This is Colette, your Luna, and my new mate. And quat, Merrick announces, his voice booms through the air, authoritative and firm. The pack members collectively drop their gaze, bowing their heads before looking back up and watching me. Then Penny and Percy, who stand at the front of the crowd, step toward us. And quat. We accept you as our Luna, and we pledge our lives to you in service. They kneel, dropping their heads. A tingling starts in my chest, a warmth spreading, and my eyes go wide in surprise. Hayes steps up to my side, sliding me a warm and encouraging smile. And quat. Accept them, and quat, he whispers, and I realize I am supposed to be doing my part. I glance at Merrick, frustration tickling my mind that he is not helping to guide me through this, but maybe it's a test to see how I handle the stress of all of this. Which is fantastic because I have proven frequently how poorly I do with that. And quat. I accept your promise, and I promise to do my best as your Luna. To lead you only where you can follow, and follow only when I know it is right to do so. I only wish to serve you all and prove myself worthy of your loyalty. And quat. Merrick chortles quietly next to me, shaking my confidence, but I don't let it show. The pack members all lift their heads and jet out a howl that resonates through the air, vibrating the ground as my chest seems to burst with white energy that spills into pale blue. It whips around me like a storm, stealing my breath away. Each passing breeze calls to me, voices of encouragement and love before the air stills and the world seems to pause for a moment. A whooshing screams past my ear, the light zipping away before spinning and heading straight for me. I close my eyes, tilting my head back as it hammers into my chest, the whispers echoing through my body until they rest in my chest and I gasp. The mind link. The world around me is silent, but internally I can hear the excitement, the whoops and hollers for their new Luna, and tears flood my eyes. They accept me. They want me. A warm hand takes hold of mine and I squeeze it, looking at Merrick, who wordlessly holds it up in celebration, though he doesn't look at me. I ache to feel his gaze on me, but I relish the touch of his skin instead, looking down at Penny and Percy, whose eyes flash blue and then their usual shade. They grin from ear to ear and I hear them in the mind link. Welcome to the pack, Luna Letty. We are honored to serve you. And quat, now, and quat, Hayes announces, filled with giddy excitement. And quat, who the heck is ready to party? And quat. We watch as everyone disperses, and I turn to face Merrick. His eyes find mine looking hollow, and again my heart races. Something is wrong. I can feel it in my very being. And quat, Merrick, and quat, I whisper, and he seems to focus on me. And quat. Yes, and quat. He asks, then he snaps his hand from mine. And quat. Are you okay? And quat. I ask him, and he frowns. And quat. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? I just announced my new Lana to my pack. And quat. I can feel my old self wanting to roar and hide, begging to just drop this and let it fester, but the new me, the stronger one with a wolf who is nearly at her full strength for the first time in our lives, stands firm. I am a Luna now, not the maid who is being reprimanded for some misdeed. And quat. Did I do something wrong? And quat. I ask. Merrick watches me for a moment, a hurricane forming in his emerald eyes. And quat. Did you do something wrong? And quat. He asks, arching a brow. And quat. That is a good question. Is there something you wanted to speak with me about, Colette? And quat. I can feel the blood drain from my face, my mouth dry as I blink at him. He knows. He has to know, otherwise why else would he be asking me? It was idiotic to think he wouldn't have known that someone like Grady was on his pack lands. But that means that he let him enter, and that Grady would only leave if Merrick allowed him to leave. And quat. Yes, and quat. I swallow roughly, licking my lips. And quat. I need to speak with you. And quat. And quat. Good. And quat. He smirks. And quat. But it will have to wait. We have a party, and then I have a gift for you. And quat. Merrick walks away, leaving me stunned and teary-eyed as every terrible possibility swirls in my head. Did Penny tell him? Or maybe he was watching me the whole time. Heavens, I have been so stupid. Merrick wasn't just out in the woods sitting in the rock to clear his mind. He was waiting for me. And quat. You coming, Luna? And quat. He calls out, stopping and looking over his shoulder. And quat. Our pack members are eager to meet you person. And quat. And quat. Of course. And quat. I mutter, shaking my head, ridding myself of the negative thoughts. Merrick seems to enjoy my discombobulation. And quat. Let's go. And quat. I smile. I follow Merrick, rounding the outside of the building and turning the corner to see a beautiful garden decorated with string lights and floating jasmine flower balls. The tables are covered in delicate lace covers with a gold satin beneath, each one decorated with a stunning display of white lilies, ivy and eucalyptus cascading from the center. Music starts up, ringing through Bluetooth speaking hung in the trees where white and lace streamers sway in the breeze. And quat. The attention to detail down to the tiny fountain with water lilies and white fish swimming in the rippling pool. There is a bow on the fountain, the twinkling water sounds, making me shiver with a calm. It's so beautiful. Penny rushes up to me with a huge smile on her face. And quat. Luna, Percy and I would like to give you our gift now, if that's okay. And quat. She asks, looking up at Merrick and back at me. And quat. Take her. And quat. Merrick bites out as Pengy pulls me to the fountain where Percy stands. And quat. Okay. And quat. Penny says in a squeal. And quat. Percy and I were trying to come up with the best gift, and we couldn't help but remember that the sound of water is calming. And quat. But you can't have your window open anymore. and quat. Percy interjects, and quat. So we convinced Alpha to let us install this in your room, and quat. Penny is glowing, and her happiness is contagious as I look at the fountain and back at them. No one has ever given me such a thoughtful gift. Heck, no one has really ever given me a gift at all unless we are counting the few little things Merrick has given me. I bite my lip, fighting back tears as I step forward and touch the water, playing my fingers over the top, and then a sob breaks free. I throw my arms around the two of them. And quat. It's stunning, and quat. I blubber as Penny hugs me back. And Percy pats me. When I pull away, I see Percy's red cheeks and Penny elbowing him with a and quat. We did so good, grin. And they did. They did so well. And quat. We are pleased you like it, and quat. Percy says. And quat. No one has ever, and quat. I pause, calming myself. And quat. This is the most personal gift I have ever received, and quat. And quat. You are going to do great things for our pack, and the whole community of our kinds, Luna, and quat. Percy says reassuringly. And quat. Do you really think so? And quat. I ask, that old insecurity creeping in as one catch Merrick watching me with a scowl from the forest line. And quat. We know it, and quat. He whispers, giving me a sweet smile. Someone taps on my shoulder and I spin to find a pretty woman holding a little boy about 3 years old. And quat. Luna, and quat, she says, bowing her head in respect before looking up at me with a soft smile. And quat. My son was hoping to meet you in person, and he is a persistent little guy, and quat. I grin at him and give him a wink. And quat. Persistence pays off sometimes, doesn't it, little man? And quat. He smiles and then buries his face into his mother's shoulder before popping back out shyly. And quat. I am Luna, and quat. I stop and look at Penny and realize Colette might be too lycan for a little kid to say, so I decide to rename myself right here. And quat. Letty. Call me Luna Letty. Can you say that? And quat. And quat. Luna Letty, and quat. He says a lisp, making the I's sound like W's. His cute little baby voice makes my chest ache with how sweet he is. And quat. And who are you? And quat. I ask him. He looks up at his mom, who encourages him. And quat. Josiah. And I'm 3. And quat. He says. And quat. Oh. A whole 3 years old. And quat. I ask, sounding shocked, and he grins. And quat. Yep. Then he looks at his mom. And quat. I'm hungry, and quat. She gives me a soft smile and a nod before she totes him away, and I feel a hand on my back. I jump, looking up over my shoulder to see Merrick standing there with a satisfied grin on his face. And quat. Seeing how happy you were with your gift from Penny and Percy has made me jealous, and quat. And quat. It did, and quat. I ask, confused by his whiplash. He takes my hand in his and tugs me away. And quat. I have told Hayes to keep the party going until we come back. And quat. Where are we going? And quat. I ask him and he chuckles. And quat. To show you your present. And quat. My heart clenches as he takes me through the forest, and the sound of people and music dulls. The memory of the story Penny told me about Lauren resurfaces and I swallow. He wouldn't kill me, would he? Just after announcing me to the pack as the official Luna? I know he must know about Grady by now, but would that lead to him being violent? He is obviously angry. And quat. Merrick. I need to tell you. And quat. Shh. And quat. he says, finally stopping and spinning me to face him, his hands landing on my hips as he tugs me close. I miss this closeness, craved it since last night, but it feels forced and angry. And quat. Are you ready? And quat. He spins me around, his chest to my back as he leans down, pressing his lips to my ear. And quat. Yes, and quat. I say with a shiver of both fear and delight. And quat. Bring him out, and quat. He calls out, and a warrior drags out a man covered in blood. My heart stutters, my hands shaking when the man lifts his eyes and I recognize him. His face is swollen, his lip fat and busted, but I would know those eyes anywhere. Grady. My worlds collide, my past and my future. The stark reality of the monster I am mated to and the kind, gentle lost rejected me. I spin in Merrick's arms, looking up to him, ready to beg. He leans down as he grabs my chin, anger on his face. And quat. You are my Luna, and you will not leave me. And quat. He growls. And quat. I wasn't going to. And quat. I rush out, hoping he can hear the honesty in my quivering voice. All I can see is the murderous rage of his lycan barely restrained in his mind. If he makes me watch him kill Grady, there is no world in which I could ever forgive him, ever love him. And quat. I warned you. Colette. Did I not? And quat. Merrick asks. A sob rips from my lips as I cover my mouth and nod in acknowledgement. And quat. Please, I whisper. He grips my arms. And quat. I warned you, and quat. He roars. Then he steps away from me, pure anger and hurt on his face. And quat. I warned you, and now you have forced my hand. And quat. Chapter 22. And quat. Merrick POV. My lycan lurks just beneath the surface, fighting me with every sharp inhale as my chest aches with anger. He wants out, he wants blood, and he is fixated on the fucker who is trying to take what is ours. The only thing keeping me from throwing my head back and letting him take over and rain down his punishment is the beautiful, wide-eyed, sobbing woman between us. I hate that I am the reason for her crying. At first I thought I would relish making her acknowledge the lies, but it's torture. And quat. Merrick, and quat. Her voice is a soft whisper as she clutches her chest and looks up at me with puffy eyes. And quat. I am begging you, please. And quat. It's okay, Cole. And quat. Grady says, and I grit my teeth, biting back the monster. That is begging for release. And quat. Let the alpha of death show you his true colors. And quat. And quat. Say your goodbye. And quat. I say, staring right at the asshole who thinks he is acting so damn tough. He didn't seem all that tough when the first strike fell last night. And quat. I wish I could take it all back. Accept you. Choose you like you deserved. My greatest regret is losing you, and I will die knowing at least I tried to rectify it. And quat. Colette looks at me, agony in her eyes as she takes a step closer to me. I move back, away from her and her intoxicating presence. Being close to her, when I know I am hurting her, is painful. And quat. Turn and watch. And quat. I whisper, making sure she sees this. She needs to witness it. I nod to my warrior, who stands behind Grady, and he acknowledges my command. He walks Grady to the borderline no more than 30 feet from us and, with a hard push, he sends him over the line. I can feel her eyes on me, and I know she is confused. And quat. This is your gift, my little Luna. And quat. I take another step back, away from her. Grady lifts his head, waiting for someone to kill him. Instead, I point into the woods, and quote, I banish you, and quote, I utter the words booming through the forest with force as the trees rumble, and quote, you are not to return to any of the werewolf or lycan communities. You are no longer one of us. If you come back, you will be killed on sight, and quote, what, and quote. His mouth falls open before he holds his stomach in pain, the tie to our kind breaking, making him a true rogue. His eyes slide to Colette, who remains silent and unmoving. Then Grady drops his head, and she looks away at the ground, unable to watch as he turns and rushes off. And quote, we need to head back, and quote, I say, breaking the silence, and Colette's eyes scan me, looking at me closely as I turn and walk away from her. And quote, the sooner the better, and quote, I say, feeling dead inside. The rustling behind me is a good indicator that she is following along as my warrior goes back to his dungeon duty, heading in the opposite direction. Other than the birds in the trees and rustling of the forest floor beneath us, there is no sound. No attempt from either of us to understand or explain what just happened. I could have killed Grady, and honestly, I really wanted to, but I have more important things to worry about than an ex-mate trying to reclaim what he can never have. As the music comes back into ear range, I feel her hand grab my arm and I go rigid, confused. I look down at her thin fingers that wrap over my shirt, and then look at her as she stares forward, walking at my side. She must be doing this to put on a show in case any of the pack members see us coming back out of the woods. It's smart. The last thing I need is my pack thinking I picked someone randomly that I don't even care for. No matter how angry I am, I will never be able to lie and tell myself I don't care for her. Hell, I just fought the part of me I have always let win to keep from losing her forever. As we get closer, the sounds of laughter and clinking echo through the trees, and I feel at ease. My pack is finally happy. Since Lauren, things have been rough. Aluna strengthens our pack, helps guide me in my mission to protect an entire pack and the whole of our kind and the werewolves. The role is vital to being a successful lycan king. A king must have his queen. And quote, Luna, and quote, Penny squeals, coming up and bouncing around us eagerly. And quote, did you do Rit, do you have a mark now? And quote, the girl is drunk. How she has successfully managed it this quickly is beyond me, but drunk is definitely what she is. Which means Percy must be close by on duty. And quote, no, and quote, Colette says sweetly, and quote, he just took me for a walk, and quote, oh, and quote. Her eyes grow wide. And quote, for your present? Not going to lie, kind of thought your present was going to be eggplant shaped and a fresh bite, and quote, she winks. Colette furrows her brows, confused. Then she looks up at me for the first time since leaving Grady in the woods. I expected to find anger and apprehension in her beautiful light brown eyes, yet I find something entirely different. Instead, she just watches me, her chin tilted up and mouth parted ever so slightly. And quote, he gave me something so much better. And quote, she murmurs. And quote, not sure what could be better than what I suggested. And quote, Penny hiccups, and I shoot her a scowl. And quote, Penny, no more drinking and get some food in you. And quote, I order and she nods, waltzing off happily. And quote, so what did he give you? And quote, Hayes says, walking up, and I close my eyes, squeezing them tight, wishing to disappear. Why does he always show up at the most inopportune moments. And quat. That's between us, and quat. Colette says, with a soft chuckle. And quat. Well, that is not fun, and quat. Hayes teases before slapping me on the shoulder. I watch as pack members come up and drag their Luna off to meet other, all the while chatting and smiling. Hayes sighs heavily at my side. And quat. She seems to have liked her gift, then, and quat. He asks as I glare at him. And quat. Yes, I suppose not murdering him in front of her was a good choice. And quat. I mutter, reaching over and stealing the cup of liquid from my brother. I sniff it, a little disappointed to realize he is drinking ice water, but I take a swig anyway. And quat. Are you going to kill him now that she thinks he is safe? And quat. Hayes asks, and I sigh. There is no point in lying. I had thought about that option several times on the walk back over here, but truth be told, it's a waste of my resources and dangerous to venture out into the exiled territory just for a meaningless kill. And quat. No, and quat. I bite out, my eyes glued to my Luna as she bespells everyone with her melodic laughter and genuine smile. And quat. Are you planning to forgive her? And quat. He asks, lowering his voice as he turns to face me. I slide him an annoyed glance and roll my eyes. And quat. Forgive her? And quat. I scoff. And quat. Forgiveness is usually something someone asks for. She hasn't asked for it. Hell, she hasn't told me shit. All that has happened is one announced that I know she's full of shit and she thinks I was somehow being nice. And quat. Well, I mean, you didn't murder her first love, so that kind of seems nice. And quat. And quat. Yeah, shut the fuck up. And quat. I growl. And quat. The council meeting is coming up. And quat. He says, choosing to change the subject. And quat. I am aware. And quat. I grit out. And quat. And she is going to find out you a second chance mates in a week. And quat. He continues. I groan in annoyance, looking out of water in my hands, really wishing it were that special brew that can get a lycan drunk. And quat. We will see. And quat. I grumble and I can feel his curious gaze. And quat. You wouldn't? And quat. He says, skeptically. And quat. Well, I'm sure as shit not marking her yet. And quat. I shoot back at him and he furrows his brow. And quat. It would be easier if you did. And quat. And quat. Marking requires sex, Hayes, I remind him. And quat. Yeah, I know that. And quat. And quat. I'm not really feeling all that gentle or loving. Do you suppose I should screw her while I am angry at her? I am sure that would make for a super comfortable first time. And quat. And quat. With the rate you are going, you are fixing to be mad at her forever. And quat. He says with a frown. And quat. Why don't you try talking to her about things? And quat. And quat. I gave her the chance, to be honest. She lied right to my damn face. And quat. I hiss at him and he rubs the back of his neck. And quat. Merrick. And quat. He starts but I give him a dagger filled glare and he stops, looking frustrated. After a moment, he sighs and walks off, leaving me alone. An hour passes, one filled with congratulations and giddy excitement as the kids leave the party and the parents remain drinking to their heart's content. Colette makes her way back over to me, Percy at her side. He gives me a nod before backing up to give us space and Colette reaches out to take hold of my arm. My lycan wants her touch, craving it, while my anger fights him for total control. I can't slip up, I won't. And quat. Are you ready to go back? And quat. She asks, a look in her eyes I can't place. Perhaps it's a mixture of worry and desire. Or maybe she is drunk and just wants to lie down. Either way, I frown but nod. And quat. Sure. And quat. The walk is fast and silent as I nearly drag her back to the room, shutting the door behind us. Her smell seems to suffocate me in this room. The bond between us is stronger now that she is officially Luna, and my lycan wants his Luna in the most desperate of ways. And quat. Merrick, Colette whispers. I press my head against the closed door, trying to gather my wits when her hand touches my back. I flinch away, moving from her. And the door? And quat. Don't. And quat. I rush out, my wild eyes meeting hers, a sadness there but understanding, and fuck if it doesn't make it harder to stay away from her. And quat. I need to tell you what happened with Grady. And quat. And quat. You really don't. And quat. I mutter, letting my anger take over, to keep me from giving in to the pull that seems to hum through my veins. It's unheard of, announcing your Luna before the mating ceremony, but I wasn't expecting this draw to her. This need to make her mine in every damn way possible. And quat. Merrick, please, I am begging you, just let me explain. And quat. I don't trust you. And quat. I roar at her. And quat. No amount of words or talking will change the fact that I cannot trust you. And quat. And quat. Then why did you make me your Luna? And quat. She asks, shocked. Because I need you. And quat. I hiss, and her brows knit in confusion. And quat. I don't understand. And quat. And quat. And you won't. Because you don't need to know. Not yet. And Colette POV. Merrick paces back and forth, his hands sliding through his hair 1 minute and a scowl shooting my way the next. His lycan barely restrained, and with every second one fear we are getting closer to it breaking free. My hand reaches out, but I stop myself, drawing it back to my stomach as I bite my lip and watch him fall apart. Every part of my body screams to touch him, to be near him, but the hatred in his eyes chills my blood. If only he would let me explain. Let me tell him I chose him and slapped Grady when he kissed me. But I know it won't make a difference, not now. Not when he has already made his mind up that I am a liar, and someone he can't trust. And quat. Alpha. And quat. I swallow, not sure how to address him when he is this mad at me. And quat. Alpha. And quat. He scoffs, a sardonic chuckle breaking free. And quat. You make out with your ex-mate, lie about it, and suddenly I am back to Alpha. You call me Merrick. Understood. And quat. I nod in agreement. And quat. I'm sorry. And quat. I whisper, wanting to counter his accusation with the truth. But Merrick isn't looking for the truth right now. He is looking for sanity, and it feels like I am the reason for the lack of it. And quat. I won't be marking you. And quat. Merrick finally states, stopping and looking at me. His chest heaves violently, his breathing labored. Tears dot my eyes for yet another time tonight. It hurts, though I can't say I'm surprised. I've done nothing but wear a fake smile, but I knew the moment Grady stepped out that there was no way Merrick would want me anymore. And quat. Perhaps you should choose a different Luna. And quat. I murmur, my heart breaking at the thought, my wolf whining as she paces, unsure of how to react with me. He is in my face in an instant, tearing me from the edge of the bed where I sit and dragging me to standing. Merrick's eyes are jet black, and his voice melding with his lycans. And quat. Mine. And quat. He snarls, and I wince. looking away out of fear. His grip disappears just as fast as it had landed on me, and Merrick stumbles back into the dresser behind him. He shakes his head, then scrubs his hands down his face. And quat. I don't know what to say. And quat. I admit, and he glances at me. And quat. Merrick, I don't know how to fix this. And quat. Time will fix it. I won't trust you, but I will mark you, eventually. But not like this. Not when I can't decide whether to fuck you or to kill you. And quat. I can feel the blood leach from my face at his words. From the very first moment I met him, he was calm, collected, and put together. Even in his anger, it was never really pointed at me, being on this end of it, watching him come undone because of me, because of what I did. It's tearing my heart to shreds. Merrick releases a heavy sigh and groans in frustration. Then he takes 3 measured steps close to me, but not too close. I can see the war waging in his green eyes, the way his lycan rails against him, fighting for control. And I can feel the rug to him, the growing urge to reach out and just make him mine. Every second I stand near him, my wolf seems to drool, going more hungry for a mark than she ever has been. Granted, she has almost been dormant for so long, so she hasn't been hungry for much, which only makes it harder to control her. And quat, my wolf, and quat, I gasp, as she lunges at the barrier in my mind, begging to be released, wanting to force him to mark us. And quat, shit, and quat, he mutters, grabbing my hand. He turns my wrist up and rubs his nose along the inside, and he nearly moans at the scent. Then he sinks his fangs into my wrist and I yelp in pain. He clings to my arm tightly as panic travels through me. Holy shit, he is going to literally consume me. I whimper in pain, then he finally releases me. My blood stains his lips and his eyes dance between black and green. I clutch my wrist to my chest, cradling it, then he nods at me. And quat, what? And quat? I ask, trying to wrap my head around the burning in my arm that travels up and makes my hair stand on edge. Merrick shoves his wrist into my mouth and my eyes bulge, trying to force him away. And quat, bite down. And quat, he demands, and I hesitate before complying. His warm skin breaks with my teeth and a thrill shivers through my body. The moment his tangy blood touches my tongue, he takes his arm away and grips the back of my neck, dragging my forehead to his as he stares into my soul. And quat, repeat after me. Understood? And quat, he asks, sounding pained. And quat, yes. And quat, I swallow roughly, intoxicated by his closeness. And quat, I pledge my life to this pack. And quat, I pledge my life to this pack. And quat, and to the whole of the lycan and wolf shifter community. And quat, he says. I close my eyes, fighting my wolf off. And quat, and to the whole lycan and wolf shifter community. And quat, I say, trying like hell to keep up. And quat, I pledge to remain at the side of my alpha, to never leave it unless I am forced, and to follow where he goes. And quat, my eyes pop open, and for a half second I hesitate, trying to understand what is happening. He growls, and I repeat the words in a rush. And quat, I pledge to stay by your side and never leave it. I promise to follow where you go, Merrick. And quat, Merrick leans in, stopping to look me in the eye, before he presses his lips to mine. The room spins, my heart racing as I reach out to touch his cheek, but he yanks away. There is a twang in my chest, like the feeling of a taut rubber band being snipped and his eyes flash gold, and my wolf submits. Then he takes a step back, sighing like he can finally breathe. And what was that? And what? I ask. A strange, gentle tingle through my body. And what? A desperate measure. And what? He sighs as he walks toward the bathroom. My eyes follow him, and I can feel our dynamic shifting. That desperate need to crawl up his body and make him make me his isn't suffocating anymore. That thread that always seems to grow tighter is suddenly slack, and I feel like my emotions are mine again, my urges controllable. He returns to me with a white towel in his hand and grabs my arm, wrapping the rag around my wrist. It's painfully obvious that he is avoiding eye contact as he looks anywhere but at me. Panic rises in my stomach, bubbling up into my mind, reminding me of what it was like back home. Back in the pack, where I was treated like an object and not a person. I've never had control ever, but at least here it felt like I had some semblance of control over myself. Until right now, until what he just did. And what? What did you do to me? And what? I ask, struggling to keep my emotions out of my quivering voice. And what? We have made a blood oath. And what? He says so nonchalantly, like it isn't a life-altering thing. And what? You tricked me into never leaving your side. And what? I ask, tilting my head to the side. And what? Yet you won't mark me. And what? A blood oath? Merrick has just stripped me of the ability of ever feeling a full force mate bond. Even when he marks me, if he marks me, the oath will remain intact until I find my mate or second chance mate, but there is no finding those. Not for me. Not when one is exiled and the other I will never find, because this oath, it blocks my ability to find them. And for what reason? I would have stayed. I would have done what he asked and would have always remained loyal to him. His eyes meet mine and I see it. The guilt burns in him. And he turns away. Good. I hope he chokes on it. And what? You never planned to leave my side anyway. So what does it change? And what? He shrugs. And what? But you didn't. I don't. I stutter over the words. And he frowns. And what? This is for the best. And what? He whispers, though I'm not sure he believes his own words. And what? I wanted to feel the bond. Merrick, I wanted to have all of that with you. And what? I say, raising my voice. And what? I thought that. And what? And what? You thought what? And what? He asks, releasing my wrist and crossing his arms over his chest. And what? You thought that because I let Grady live, I would be lenient with you too. This is lenient. And what? And what? I wasn't expecting anything. And what? I whisper. And what? Good. Having no expectations is easier. Leaves you with nothing to get upset about. And what? He grumbles before he storms out of the room, slamming the door shut behind me, making me jump. I want to hate him, to be angry and curse his name, but the truth is, I would have agreed to the oath if he would have asked. I am more upset because I know why he did it this way. One betrayal for another. Merrick's punishment of exiling Grady wasn't enough, and because he doesn't trust me, he needs to know he can force that trust. This isn't the Merrick IKNE. This isn't the one who watched my heart breaking in the woods and changed his mind about an execution. Merrick gave me the most beautiful gift, and he is convinced I saw it as a weakness. He showed me he had a heart tonight, so he broke mine to hide his. But that says far more about him than it does about me. Broken hearts are still capable of love. And even in my anger and sorrow, I still feel it, beating. Just as loudly as the rage in his actions. As much as I want to deny it and push it away, it's begun to beat for him. Chapter 24. And quat. Merrick POV. I lounge back in the chair on the deck, taking in the clear sky above me, showcasing the stars and the waning moon. My whole body feels like it's vibrating with every emotion. Rage, guilt, betrayal. All of them meld together, ripping through my mental state like nothing I've felt before. And quat. So you did it, huh? And quat. Hayes says, approaching me from behind. I roll my eyes, knowing I should have expected him and his usual confrontations. It's what makes him such a great beater. That and I can't kill him off for his honesty. And quat. Hello. To you too, brother. And quat. I grumble. I ignore him as he takes a seat next to me, sighing heavily, keeping my eyes trained on the sky. And quat. So how did she take it? And quat, he asks, and I scoff. How did she take it? Not fucking well. That's for sure. Hell, the more I think about it, the more I try to convince myself I didn't see how hurt she was, how betrayed she was. But I need to get used to that look, and the feeling it carves into my S. And quat. I think. I exhale, looking over at him. Finally. And quat. I think I broke her heart. And quat. And quat. Of course you did, Merrick. You took her options away. And quat. He says like she ever actually had any. And quat. What option? Could you explain what exactly I took from her? And quat. And quat. Well, her choice, for starters. And quat. We both know that the blood oath is entirely reversible. And quat. I grumble. And quat. I took nothing from her. I just delayed it. And quat. And quat. We know that, but she doesn't. How can she when you refuse to tell her you guys are second chance mates? And quat. And quat. Colette agreed to this. Okay. She agreed to being Luna and take my mark one day. And quat. I say, sitting up and swinging to face him. Soul. And quat. Yes, but she meant being marked. Not the blood oath that you use on a top warrior or someone you have to keep close. And quat. And quat. Damn it, Hayes and quat. I growl. And quat. Without this oath blocking the pull to her, I will lose control. It's intoxicating. She is intoxicating. I want to claim her. Shit, more than I wanted to claim Lauren. It's like a festering inside my chest, like a fucking infection that keeps growing. There is no antidote or cutting it out. But this oath, it's a band-aid. It buys me time. It's to keep me sane. And quat. And quat. Buys you time for what? And quat. He scoffs. And quat. To figure out what the hell to do next. And quat. I stand abruptly. You should have just told her you are second chance mates, so that she knows the oath can be broken when you mark her. And quat. And quat. I want a mate I can trust. And quat. I roar, my chest pinching at the memory of Colette kissing Grady. The moment my trust for her shattered. And quat. How does telling her prove this I can trust her? And quat. And quat. Forcing that trust isn't real trust. And quat. Hayes says softly and I chuckle dryly. And quat. Beggars can't be choosers. And quat. I mutter, annoyed, looking away. And quat. You are the alpha. You don't have to beg. And quat. No, I shouldn't have to beg. And quat. Are you done having a pity party yet? And quat. Hayes says, his voice firm, like he is fed up with me. And quat. Pity party. And quat. I scoff, striding away, before turning and grabbing him by the collar. And quat. Hayes, it is my job to take care of this pack. My job to finish what father tried to fix before my mate fucking killed him with her vampire lover. And quat. I release him, but I stay in his face, making sure he understands the shit on my shoulders. It wasn't Hayes who found them. Dad's dead body laying at the feet of the traitorous bitch who had told me the night before she wanted to carry my pups. It wasn't Hayes who had to step up and keep his shit together to lead a pack that was broken and distrusting of me. He forgets the whispers, the rumors doubting me and my role in all of this. Lauren had planted seeds, and they bloomed into black blossoms of doubt overnight after being watered with our father's blood. And quat, Merrick, Dad's death is not on you, and quat, he breathes. And quat, it was my mate who fucked our pack over. It was me trusting her, and the wrong people on the committee that have the lycans weaker than we have ever been, and the werewolves exposed to the fucking other supernatural astards that can use them how they please. This isn't a pity party, this is me trying to plan out what is best for everyone else, and quat, and quat. And you think tricking her into an oath where she can't backstab you, while you use her to get your way with the committee, is going to fix all that? And quat, and quat. Look, I did it for her, and for me, and quat. I grit out. And quat. I need to trust that she won't try to leave me when shit is revealed. And quat, and quat. Ah, so that is the real reason. And quat. He whispers, looking disappointed in me. And quat. You wanted her to be forced to stay by your side. And quat. And marking her wouldn't have the same effect. And quat. I scowl. He scoffs, dragging his hand over his stubbled chin. And quat. You are so wise, big brother, truly. And you have done so much for our pack, and you are sacrificing so much to do what you think is best. But you are on the path to messing this up beyond repair. And quat. I sigh, looking up at the moon for some clarity. And quat. Too late. And quat. I mutter and he sighs. And quat. You need to smooth this over before your committee meeting. And quat. He says, looking at me. And quat. I mean it, Alpha. And quat. How do you suppose I do that? Now. And quat, and quat. Go tell Colette you are second chance mates. Go tell her why she is so important. Tell the poor woman who she is. She is strong enough to handle it now. And quat, and quat. I can't risk her knowing her past. And quat. I bite out. And quat. We need the element of surprise. And quat, and quat. What you need is a unified front, not one that is fake. You don't want to tell her all of that yet. Fine. But the oath is already in place, and she deserves to know that when you two are ready, that mate bond will be there for her, too. And quat. I stare at him, seeing more and more of Dad in him every day. Hayes has the heart of our mother and the wise words of our father. The combination always brings me comfort after pissing me off first. So instead of taking his advice into consideration, I nod, agreeing. And quat. Okay. And quat. I whisper, shoving my hands in my pocket. And quat. Okay, I will tell her what she is to me. And quat. His eye grow wide and then he smirks victoriously. And quat. I'll be here, waiting for a chat when you are done. I have to know how she responds. Do you think she will slap you? And quat. He teases and I frown. From a wise father-like figure to idiot brother in 10 seconds. Flat. Might be a record. I chuckle, giving him a gentle shove as I turn and walk back into the pack house. The trip back to the room is anxiety-ridden, my lycan pouting in my mind, still angry with me for doing what I did. Maybe if he were a more controlled beast, we wouldn't have had to take drastic measures, but he doesn't like that opinion. As I get closer to her door, I can feel the emotions brewing. The anger I feel for her and the ache in my chest to hold her. Such conflicting emotions are becoming a constant in my life, and it's going to cause permanent damage to my brain. I knock, waiting a moment before gently pushing the door open. Colette looks up at me from her spot on the ground, sitting with her back against the bed and her eyes red and raw. There are no tears anymore, only the residue from the ones that have fallen, and my heart breaks. I did that. I put those tears on her cheeks and redness in her eyes. And quote, I need to speak with you. And quote, I swallow. And quote, if you allow it. And quote, do I have a choice? And quote, she clips out. Des. And quote, I nod, giving her the ability to push me the way I have done to her. Instead, she sniffles and scoffs. And quote, what do you need? And quote, she asks, her voice small and shaky. And quote, the oath will break when I mark you. If you want me to mark you. And quote, I say, fumbling over my words, choosing the most direct path. And quote, Merrick, I know what a blood oath is. I may have been raised as a maid, but I know things. I will never get to experience a full bond with you. And quote, then you know. There are loopholes. And quote, I remind her and she nods. And quote, of course. But that would entail me finding my second chance mate. And I can't do that with the oath in place. And quote, but he can find you. And quote, I swallow, my mouth going dry. And quote, I suppose. She furrows her brow. And quote, you felt the pull, didn't you? How strong it was. And quote, Colette pulls her knees to her chest and sighs heavily. And quote, yeah, it was mind-numbing. And quote, she admits, and I find myself relaxing just a little, knowing it wasn't just a one-sided attraction. And quote, I was going to lose control of my lycan. And quote, I wanted you to mark me. I care about you, Merrick. What would losing control do? And quote, it would force me into marking you when I am not ready. And quote, I say, moving closer to her. Her eyes are glued to me, watching my every move as I stop just before her. And quote, I can't risk a full mate bond when there is no trust. And quote, if you would have asked or explained this, I probably would have agreed. All you had to do was ask. And quote, she says, glaring at me. I sigh and shake my head. And quote, I wasn't in the right frame of mind. My pull to you, it is stronger than yours to me. It's different. And quote, her brows furrow in confusion. And quote, because you are the lycan king. And quote, no. Because I know who my second chance mate is. And quote, what does that have to do with? And quote, you are my second chance mate. And quote, I interrupt her. She blinks at me, her mouth falling open, urging to humiliate me. Because of Grady. And quote, I don't. That doesn't make any sense. And quote, she frowns. And quote, is this some joke? Are you trying? One flinch when she says his name, hating the sound of it in her voice. And quote, when we mark each other, the oath will fully disappear. And you will recognize me as your second chance mate. And quote, Colette says nothing, only frowns as she tries to process what I am telling her. And quote, I don't believe you, she whispers. And quote, how can I believe you? And quote, you are just going to have to trust me. And quote, I whisper, hoping for a little leeway, even though I know I don't deserve it. And quat, do you trust me? And quat, she tilts her head, waiting knowingly for the answer. I draw in a shaky breath and exhale sharply, and quat, I can't. And quat, I admit hesitantly, and quat, yeah, I didn't think so. And quat, she chuckles dryly, standing from the floor and stepping into me. And quat, then I will keep my trust until you prove to me you are my second chance mate. And when you are ready, I have proof that what you think you saw was only a snippet of what actually happened. I have asked Penny to stay with me tonight. And quat, then she moves past me, opening the door and holding it for me to exit. And quat, Colette POV. And quat, I want to hate him. The stupidly handsome man sitting next to me as we ride to this council meeting he has been panicking about since I arrived in our pack. His eyes keep wandering over to me, lingering for only a moment before they snap away every time I look at him. I have had 1 week to process what he did. 1 week of giving him the silent treatment on anything related to me and how 1 a.m. feeling. One still can't believe he thought I wouldn't be angry. After forcing me to take a blood oath under the guise of us being second chance mates. He isn't the only one with broken trust. If anything, I have more of a right to be upset with him than he does with me. I have tried to communicate and explain everything to him, but he won't listen. But he has no reason for why the hell wouldn't he tell me we are second chance mates. What kind of jerk sets up his second chance mate to see how they will act when their first mate wants to run away with them? Not that he knows I am aware of that part. He should be. I'm not dumb and I know he is smart enough and our pack is trained enough to have known Grady was there. Merrick set me up. And instead of being upfront with me, he led me into a trap and then refused to listen to the entire story. My cheeks heat in anger just thinking about it again, and I look out the SUV window as trees fly past. And quat, you have been quiet, and quat, he says, the air thick and heavy between us. This is how it's been all week. Him trying like hell for a conversation and me only doing the bare minimum. If he thinks I will easily forget this or that the temptation of him marking me to see if we actually are a second chance mate will soften me to him, he is severely wrong. I am livid, even all these days later. And quat, would you like me to entertain you? And quat, I ask, turning to look at him. He furrows his brow, turning his massive frame to face me on the leather seat. And quat, no. And quat, he sighs. And quat, I just was worried you might have some unresolved emotions about long car rides after the last incident. And quat, he's not wrong and I hate that he is bringing it up. It takes an immense amount of mental strength to keep myself from freaking out every time I see a truck at a stop or someone passes us. Each squealing tire feels like a dagger to my lungs, and my hands are a clammy mess. And quat, I am fine. And quat, I force out, but I can tell he doesn't buy it. And quat, you are anxious. And quat, he says, and I exhale, shaking my head. And quat, a little. And quat, then perhaps we should discuss what will happen when we arrive. And quat, he offers. And quat, to distract you. And quat, I press my lips together, not entirely pleased. I'm busy trying to hate him, even with the bond between us suppressed. 1 a.m. Still drawn to him. I'd love to blame the Lunar Alpha bond, but the truth is, angry or not, feelings don't just go away. And I have genuine feelings for Merrick. Untrusting or not, and that makes me angrier than anything else. And quat, sure. And quat, I agree, placing my hands on my lap, and quat, we won't be warmly welcomed. Our kind is not entirely well received by the others, and quat, he pauses as I listen, and quat, once we are dropped at the front door, the council laws will protect us and we will be safe, but that doesn't mean we can trust anyone. And quat, no, of course not. Why would we ever think we can trust someone? And quat, I grumble. And quat, this is not a joking matter. And quat, he says sternly, and I glare at him. And quat, of course not. Got it. Trust no one. That I can handle. I've been living like that long enough that it's habit now. And quat, he lets my attitude slide as he continues growing a little nervous. And quat, we will share a room. My heart sinks, and one meet his eyes. The only way I have been able to maintain my anger is because Penny has stayed in thy room with me for the week he has been absent. I fell for him in 3 weeks because I spent so much time with him. How long will it take me to forgive him because of those emotions? Especially when I don't want to forgive him. And quat, will there be a couch? And quat, I ask. And quat, we will sleep in the same bed. And quat, he says, and I bite my lip. And quat, they will know by our scent if we do not stay in the same bed. Colette. And quat, is that a bad thing? And quat, the types of beings at this meeting will have different rules, thoughts on mating and how to treat one's chosen one. If you do not smell like me, to them you would be fair game. And quat, fair game how? And quat, I ask. A little shocked. This is the most he has really told me anything about the others. And quat, they will try to get to you, to use you, like a toy. And quat, he frowns. And quat, something to spice up their bedroom life. A challenge to win from me or worse. A reason to eject you from the meeting and let you loose in the land outside the council rules. And quat, my heart races and my mouth falls open. A toy. His hands lands on mine and I let it stay there. Where the hell is he taking me that his word is not one to be taken seriously? He is the lycan king, known for his lack of mercy in battle. Yet, here, if the one he says is his Luna doesn't smell like him, they will try to steal me. And quat, why didn't you just mark me? And quat, I ask, my fear melding with my hurt anger. If he would have just marked me, spoke with me, this could be avoided. Instead, he is placing me in danger. For what reason? Why the hell does he even need me here at his side? Should I not have stayed and helped Hayes take care of the pack? And quat, you know why? And quat, he murmurs, and I scoff. And quat, right, I'm not trustworthy. And quat, I grind out. And quat, what else do I need to know? And quat, we will need to act like a fully mated couple. And quat, he watches me close, gauging my reactions. And quat, won't they? No, we aren't because I don't have your mark. And quat, I scoff. And quat, lycans generally mark on the neck. Yes, but we can technically mark wherever we want. If anyone asks, just say your mark is only for me to see, and I will say likewise. And quat, okay. And quat, this will mean we have to do things that may make you feel uncomfortable. Things that make them believe we are mated. And quat, like what? And quat, I ask him, narrowing my eyes. And quat, holding hands, me nuzzling your neck, kissing you, and, at times, potentially sitting on my lap. And quat, my cheeks turn red, embarrassment rising. And quat, Those are pretty descriptive things. And quat, I force out, my mouth dry. Not because I am worried, but because, like a totally love-struck idiot, I crave those moments with him. And I know I shouldn't. And quat, vampires and fae are very intimacy-driven creatures. And vampires can be persuasive. And quat, my eyes go wide, shocked. And quat, f far. And quat, I ask, and he nods. And quat, you will meet many supernatural beings. Ones you may not have heard of. And quat, how long will we be here? And quat, I ask him, and he looks away, then looks back. And quat, we are hoping to be asked to stay for the duration of the meeting, which is about a month. And quat, what? A month long meeting. And quat, I gasp, and he nods. And quat, it is not like one formal long event. It's similar to a vacation with friends. And quat, only everyone will want to steal me from you if I don't smell like you, and the fate of the werewolves and lycans depends on this going well. And quat, yeah. There is that. And quat, he says, chuckling nervously. I tilt my head, looking at him closely, noticing the dark shadow under his eyes for the first time. And quat, Merrick, and quat, I say softly. And quat, why do we need to be a member of the council? And quat, that is a loaded question. And quat, he exhales. And quat, I think we have some time. And quat, I offer, and he watches me close, his eyes scanning my face, looking for something. Then he sits forward and rests his hands on his knees. And quat, we were banned from the council for 250 years. And quat, he says. And quat, before that there was peace. Rogues nearly never happened, and everyone lived happily. Until my great-great-great-grandfather killed a council member. And quat, why would he do that? And quat, I ask him, shocked, and he shrugs. And quat, how my father explained it was that my ancestor found his fated mate, but was denied her because one of the other species did not agree with breeding outside their kind. Hybrids would be too powerful and hard to control, with no knowing what they would be like once they come into their powers. And quat, he explains, I feel like my mind is about to explode as I revel in all the possibilities and process the information at hand. Hybrids. First, there are other supernaturals. Now there are rules against hybrids. And quat, do they not realize a wolf or lycan needs their mate? That is not a choice we make, but a completion of our souls. And quat, I say. And quat, like I said, different species with different kinds of mates and purposes for them. And quat, he explains. And quat, so if our kind was banned for 250 years, how much longer do we have to wait? And quat, our time has been up for years. And quat, he says with a frown. And quat, my father tried many times to bring us back in, but we are refused what is ours. And it is because they do not want us to have our time as the head of the council. And quat, I shake my head, confused. And quat, wait, head of the council. And quat, the head of the council changes every 25 years. It cycles through from species to species to keep things fair. Our term should have started the year Lauren betrayed me. And quat, he says simply. And quat, why would they do that? And quat, I ask, completely shocked. And quat, why would they not give us what is ours, especially after we served our time? And quat, because the current head of the council is a power-hungry asshole who took not only his species' term, but another booted species and now ours. And quat, and quat, you aren't doing a lot to help me want to be nice to people, and quat, I mumble. He smiles at me and I grin before realizing I am mad at him. I look away with a scowl, and quat, so, who is the current head, and quat, King Caspian, and quat, he tells me, and quat, the king of the sirens and complete asshole, and quat, I look back at him and then frown, crossing my arms over my chest as I lean into the chair, and quat, who do you think has been the one attacking me, and quat, I ask him, and he blows out a puff of air, settling deep into the chair, leaning back into the leather headrest, and quat, that's tough to tell. Many of them have magical powers. There are the witches, vampires, fae. Any of them could easily manipulate a werewolf or other species to do their bidding, and quat, is that the reason you brought me, and quat, I ask, tilting my head, and quat, to keep me safe, here where I am protected from all of them, and quat, I watch as his muscles tense and he looks out the window, refusing to look at me, and quat, something like that, and quat, he mutters. But I get the feeling he is yet again not being truthful. Chapter 26. Colette is nervous, her hands shaking as we exit the vehicle and come face to face with the enormous remodeled castle. The once grey stones have been painted over in a soft white. Pristine bushes frame the heavy wooden double doors, the spiral pattern climbing the height. So the entrance. A thick line of hydrangeas line the stone wall, in full bloom and tall enough to kiss the bottom of the tall windows. Percy unloads behind us, pulling our luggage to the door. Before tugging a chain and bells chime, announcing our presence. Penny was as angry as a raging bull when I told her she wouldn't be coming with us. But with her unmated and around the likes of a few of these assholes, I'm more comfortable with Percy, and quat, I will be your shadow as always, Luna, and quat, he says, giving her a nod, and Colette gives him a gentle smile. The same smile I used to get, and I've come to realize I miss more than anything. And quat, I'm glad you are here, she admits. Then she looks at me, her face going cold, and looks forward. I lean into her ear to whisper something snarky, but the door creaks open instead. Ezra gives me a smirk and I take an internal sigh of relief. I was worried one of the others would answer. There is one person in particular I am trying to avoid. And quat, you answer doors now. And quat, I ask him, and he chuckles. Thankfully, no, I am on my way out after delivering the message you would be arriving. And quat, you have been monitoring us, Ezra, and quat, I ask, and he shrugs. And quat, how did they take that? And quat, I quirk a brow and he fights a grin. And quat, oh, with an air of grace, Alpha. As always. But I can hear the teasing lilt in his voice. I am sure they took word of my arrival with rage and a side of bitterness. And quat, ah, yes, I am sure they did. And quat, I clear my throat, looking to Colette, who watches Ezra with a curious eye. And quat, Ezra, this is my Luna, Colette, and quat, I say. She bows her head in respect and Ezra barks out a laugh. And quat, oh, I like her. And quat, he grins. And quat, I should bow to you, Luna, I am no one, just a low messenger. And quat, and I was a maid until recently. Your station doesn't matter much to me, but your kindness does. You seem to trust each other, she says, shooting me a look. Ezra arches an amused brow. And quat, trust? Hardly. His great-grandfather killed my kind and quat, and quat. Great, 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 great. Maybe a few more in there somewhere, grandfather. It's been a few generations now. And quat. I remind him, and he nods knowingly. And quat. Yes, I am aware of how you all get over things in time. But it is much harder for the people who live much longer. And quat, and quat. And it wasn't your kind. And quat. I frown at him. And quat. The council is my kind. I serve all. And quat. He reminds me with a twinkle in his eye. And quat. As long as it is in the best interest of the council. And quat. Fraternizing with the enemy. EZ. And quat. A light airy voice beckons and one reach out, instinctively gripping Colette's hand in mine. And quat. Never, Florence. He gives a tight-lipped smile, turning. And quat. I was just leaving and ran into an old friend. And quat. Friend. My ass. And quat. She mutters, taking a step forward. And quat. Well, Merrick, I can't say it's great to see you. I rather hoped you would get the message you are unwanted and unwelcome here. And quat. Wanted or not, we have the right to represent our kind. And quat. I say firmly. She scowls at me and then turns her gaze onto Colette, her eyes lighting up with delight. And quat. Oh, and quat. She giggles. And quat. Oh my, you brought a plaything? And quat. Colette freezes. And I pull her close. She steps willingly into my embrace as I press my lips to her head. And quat. I brought my mate and Luna. She is my equal and will be treated with respect. Not like a person to play a part in your foreplay. She tuts and then rolls her eyes, throwing the door open wide. And quat. You lycans and your possessive nature. Perhaps she wants a little fun. Heavens no, you aren't any. And quat. She mutters, turning and walking away. And quat. Hurry along and I will show you to your room. And quat. Colette remains silent the whole walk, Florence mumbling to herself as she shoots daggers my way and checks Colette out once or twice. She weaves us past a second kitchen and up a set of spiral staircases before stopping with an annoyed expression. And quat. Apparently, dinner will be in 2 hours. And quat. She says, sounding annoyed. And quat. It's requested that you bathe and dry off thoroughly. I would hate to choke to death on the smell of a wet dog. And quat. Don't tempt me. And quat. Thank you for kindly showing us to our room. And quat. Colette says, cutting me off as she death grips my hand. Florence's face changes to one of an overly excited cheerleader. It was nothing. And quat. She tucks a hair behind her ear flirtatiously. And quat. The women will be having a drink before dinner, if you want to join. And quat. She asks. And quat. That does sound nice, but we are newly mated. And quat. Colette flushes. And quat. I'm not quite ready to be too far from Merrick yet. And quat. What a shame. And quat. Florence sighs before she sashays away, and I drag Colette into the room. The second the door closes, Colette steps into me, her face buried in my chest as she drags in long deep breaths. And quat. Are you okay? And quat. I whisper, running my hands up and down her arms. And quat. I am in way over my head, Merrick. And quat. Her voice trembles and her fear makes me want to burn the whole of the council down and let everyone fend for themselves. And quat. You handled yourself beautifully. And quat. I admit. And quat. Truthfully, I was worried you might not speak at all their entire trip, but you once again surprise me. And quat. I didn't want you to lose your temper with her. She admits. and quat. The last thing we need is enemies, and quat. I frown, framing her face with my hands and pulling it back so I can look down into her eyes. And quat. To everyone, we are the enemies. No one trusts us, and we cannot trust them. And quat, and quat. What is Florence, and quat? She asks, taking a step back and fixing her shirt. And quat. Promise not to laugh, and quat. I ask, biting back a smile. She is going to lose her shit when she hears what Florence is. And quat. Okay, I won't laugh. And quat, she says, but I know she will. Which is why I told her not to, because now she won't be able to stop herself because she is expecting outrageous, but not this outrageous. And quat. Florence is a unicorn. And quat. I grin. Colette chokes on her own spit, her hand over her throat and her eyes wide, as she laughs and heaves. It's contagious, her smile, her laugh, and I rub her back, joining in. After a moment, she shakes her head and wipes her eyes. And quat. No, seriously, and quat, and quat. I am dead. Serious, and quat, and quat. Where is her horn, and quat? She asks, still chuckling. I tug at my shirt collar, wondering how she will handle all the species she will meet over the month. And quat. Her horn only appears in her true form. She isn't quite a shifter, not quite human. They are able to take on human form with the use of their magic. And they have a horn to symbolize their greatest downfall, and quat, downfall, and quat. She tilts her head. And quat. You mean her snarky mood isn't enough? And quat. She says with a smile. And quat. They are always horny. And quat. I shrug and she freezes. And quat. Like they always want to. And quat. And quat. Yes. And quat. And quat. You are joking. And quat. She whispers wide-eyed and I bite back a grin. And quat. I'm actually not. She has tried many times to make her way into my room with one of her various partners, and quat, doesn't take no for an answer. And quat, she asks, but I can see the rage growing in her eyes. It seems like my little Luna doesn't like the thought of someone else trying to bed her alpha. And quat, she does. But it takes some convincing. The point is, avoid being alone with her at all costs. And quat, not going to lie. I may be mad at you, but I don't think I will leave your side. And quat. There is a knock at the door, and I take a few steps back, my heart soaring at the thought of her staying close at all times before I spin and pull the door open. All joy and happiness leeches from me as I stand face to face with the fucker who blew my world up 3 years ago. He leans on the door frame, grinning. And quat. Rumor has it you have a new Luna. And quat. His voice grates on my cars, his fangs showing as he looks over my shoulder. And quat. She isn't nearly as stunning as my Lauren was, but she will do just fine. And quat. She is off limits. And quat. I grit out. And quat. What are you going to do? Kill her too. Keep her from me. Eventually, you're going to run out of options. And Colette POV. The second the door opens, the air in the room changes. It grows cold and Merrick's tension is palpable on my tongue. I move closer, catching a set of crimson eyes with a dangerous glint of amusement. His tongue darts out, licking his lips after he mutters something to Merrick, and I watch his knuckles grow white as he crushes the door handle. Pushing my anger aside, I move over to Merrick, taking his hand in mine, and sliding my other up his arm to press my body close to his while looking at his perfectly angled face. Then the man clears his throat, vying for my attention, but I refuse to give him a single moment more when Merrick is barely holding on. Instead, I press up onto my toes and drop a kiss on his cheek. And quote, "Come, let's rest while we can." And quote, my heart is thudding and I am certain the man staring at us can hear it, but I don't care. I can feel not only his danger but Merrick's just beneath the surface, and I know he needs this save. Our pack needs him to calm himself. And quote, "You must be the new Luna," and quote, the person says, and I glance at him briefly, taking in his appearance. He is thinner than Merrick, and though he is tall, by most standards, he is not Merrick's level of tall. His shoulders are slender and his face is thin, but attractive. Again, he has nothing on the specimen of a man I am clinging to. And quote, I am. Is there something we can assist you with? And quote, I ask, leading him so I get a name. And quote, Johannes, and quote, he says with a slight accent and a grin on his pale lips. I listen as best I can, trying to determine what he is without needing to be told. Then he shows me his fangs, and I realize he is a vampire. And quote, Prince Royal of the vampire clans. Ah, I see, I murmur, pressing my lips into a flat, unimpressed line. And quote, I am Colette, Luna of the Lycans and werewolves. And quote, Merrick twitches, his hand releasing the doorknob and taking mine in his, and I can feel his eyes on me as I stand tall and introduce myself. And quote, you don't look like much. And quote, he says, glancing at Merrick, waiting for him to take the bait, but he doesn't. And quote, did you get what you needed? And quote, Merrick asks, seeming to finally snap out of his daze. He stares Johannes down, squaring his shoulder, and I can feel the way his muscles twitch. And quote, your reaction was a little underwhelming, I must admit. I really hoped you would be more excited to see me. And quote, are you two friends? And quote, I ask, trying to get a sight into what the hell this hostile energy is. And quote, friends. And quote, Johannes tastes the word, seeming to swish it around in his mouth, before he gives me a devious smile. And quote, depends on your definition. We shared a woman. So to some, that would be friendly, no. And quote, Merrick scoffs, taking a step forward, but I cling to him with every ounce of me, and he clears his throat, sliding me a grateful look. Johannes here was Lauren's lover, whilst she was supposed to be my Luna. And quote, he informs me in a bitter voice. And quote, I thought you were dead. And quote, I am royalty? Merrick, did you really think my coven cared about who I fucked? And quote, the coven? No. The council, I thought, had more tact. And quote, is up to me to decide. And quote, the council does not protect your kind any longer. What I do with your kind for a little fun is, and I am not the only one enjoying having you all as little playthings. Or so I hear. And quote, so should I kill you now, before I get on the council? And quote, Merrick asks him, and Johannes shakes his head with a laugh. And quote, you don't seem to take hints very well, so I will be candid with you. The council will never let you back on it. You being here right now, it's the elders being nostalgic for the old days. But you will slip up with that signature lycan temper. And I can't fucking wait to swoop in and take your new Luna for a test. And quote, it will be a cold day in hell the second I let you touch me. And quote, I growl, pushing my way in front of Merrick in a last-ditch attempt to keep him from attacking this asshole. You may have been able to sway a weak, unworthy woman with promises of immortality, but I would rather die than betray my pack and My mate. My wolf is going feral in my mind, lashing out and begging to tear at this asshole for suggesting we would ever be as weak as Lauren. We aren't her. We aren't some weak, traitorous asshole who thinks only of herself. Merrick's arms wrap around my waist from behind, pulling me back into his chest as he takes a step back. And quat. Thanks for stopping by, Johannes. Now if you don't mind, kindly fuck right off, and quat, he says, sounding amused before he slams the door shut. The next thing I know, I am pinned against the closed door, Merrick looming over me with his arms on either side of my head as he studies my face with barely restrained, dare I say, lust. There are no words that pass between us in this heavy moment, but so much is said in the way he stares into my eyes, and the way my heart seems to match his beat after skipping a few. Then he reaches out, cupping my face as he drags my lips to his. Apprehension quickly melts into a fiery need, and I clutch to his shoulders, kissing him back. His lips are soft and pliant as I whimper a needy moan, and he nibbles my bottom lip. I am putty in his hands, his to mold and do with what he needs as he gives me more genuine emotions than I have seen from him in days. He kisses like he is apologizing, begging to erase the hurt of the past week, but I know I can't. No matter how much I crave this, and him. I tilt my head down, breaking the kiss. He presses his forehead to mine, out of breath, as he shakes. It breaks me to see him so vulnerable, so upset about seeing the man who made his life a living hell. I hate knowing that these emotions, his need to kiss me, arose from Lauren and her asshole immortal lover. And quat, thank you, and quat, he whispers, his voice hoarse and breaking. And quat, for what? And quat, I ask, surprised. And quat, did you mean what you said? And quat, he asks, standing up straight. His emerald eyes search me, looking into the depths of my soul, and I frown. And quat, mean what? And quat, what you said to him about dying instead of betraying your pack and me, and quat. He looks like a little child, waiting for his mom to say yes over some huge gift he asked for, and I tilt my head, my hand sliding up his neck as I use my thumb to stroke his jawline. And quat. Of course. And quat. I furrow my brow. And quat. I made a promise to our pack, and you, no matter how angry I am with you, Merrick, you gave me a home. You gave me a purpose, and I owe you everything. And quat. I swear I witness his heart break at that moment, the way his eyes soften and he exhales like I had confessed that I loved him. And quat. Thank you for still choosing us. And quat. He whispers, his hand covering my and dragging it away from his face. He holds it in his between us, playing with my fingers, fidgeting. I want to tell him it's fine and that I forgive him, but the truth is, I have changed since coming to our pack, since choosing this as my path. The path of a Luna has no room for the old me, the one who would let everyone, no matter what, walk all over me. I am the lycan queen, and it's about damn time I act like it. And quat, his eyes, and quat, I say, changing the subject. And Merrick nods, and quat, yes, the vampire royals all have crimson red eyes. And quat, I furrow my brows, thinking of the wolves in the woods, trying to pinpoint the color of red in their hollow eyes. And quat, they can't be the reason for the red wolves, right? And quat, I ask him, and he huffs out a heavy sigh. The wolves were spelled, or compulsion could have been used, but no, it would not explain the eyes being the color they were. And quat, so it wasn't the vampires, and quat, It very much could have been them. Or the witches or fae. Or anyone here. Working with another group. There is no ruling anyone out, Colette. Everyone here is our enemy. And quat. Every single one. And quat, I ask, biting my lip, feeling uneasy all over again. How the hell am I supposed to sleep if I know that everyone here is probably plotting against us? And quat. Yes, but we'll make allies soon enough, and quat, and quat. You just said we can't trust anyone. So how will we make allies, and quat? I ask, confused. And quat, you, and quat, he says with a shrug before stepping further into the massive suite. And quat. What do I have to do with it? And quat, everything. But for starters, you clearly can keep me from killing Johannes, and that's a huge win. And quat. He moves around the room, looking indoors and checking spaces as I watch him, shocked. 1 minute he was near catatonic, then homicidal, then kissing me senseless. And now he is almost giddy, walking around the large room and telling me how important I am. If he keeps this whiplash up, I'm going to end up with a concussion. But I have to admit, it's kind of nice being acknowledged for something I did right. Chapter 28. And quat. Merrick POV. Colette steps out of the bathroom, her scent wafting from the steam that follows behind her. She looks more prepared, like the shower provided her with liquid courage. Her hair is soft and wavy, falling over her delicate shoulders that are exposed in her pale blue summer dress. The soft ruffles remind me of waves lapping at the shore as they cascade over her bust and down one side where a slit reveals a portion of her smooth skin. She looks divine, a breath of fresh air after a lifetime being lost in the Marianas Trench. My heart races as I meet her eyes, my mouth dry. Colette watches me curiously before growing noticeably nervous, and she crosses her arm across her belly, holding the other arm while she looks away. I hate she feels she has to hide, like she has no idea how damn stunning she is. And quat. Don't do that. And quat. I rasp out, standing from the edge of the bed as I move toward her. And quat. Do not ever hide. And quat. And quat. I'm not used to dressing like this. And quat. She frowns. And quat. You look beautiful. And quat. I tell her sincerely. It won't be hard to make it seem like I can't keep my hands off her in a dress like this. The lycan in me is rallying against my sane mind, begging to make me force her to change, to cover her up and not allow anyone to see her like this but us. But I want everyone to stare. I want them to look at her and gape. Colette needs to see what she can do, what she has always been capable of. She has always been stunning, but since coming to my pack, she has flourished. I know she wasn't being poisoned in her old pack, not in the way she thinks she was. But she was sickly, her soul malnourished, and her wolf suffered, making her thin and gaunt. Not anymore. A month of good food, exercise, and people who treat her well. Well, most people who treat her well. I wince inwardly, hating that I'm the one who causes her stress. I am the one who hurt her and ruined us. It's not fair to punish her for my insecurities, but yet, I can't find it in my pride to tell her that. Not yet. Not when I know that this is just a small amount of the hatred she will send my way when she finds out at the first meeting. Her soft hand touches mine, and I shake myself from my thoughts, taking her in once more. Damn, she is perfect. Her lips part and I lick mine. And quat. You don't have to flatter me. And quat, she mumbles. And quat. I'm being honest. And quat. I say firmly. and quat. Oh, and quat. She blinks, her cheeks growing pink as she tucks some hair behind her. Car. I reach out, undoing it, and then I look her in the eyes, making sure she can see their sincerity. And quat. Are you ready for this? And quat. I ask her. And quat. I don't have a choice. And quat. She says with a sigh. It pains me to hear her say that, knowing I forced her here. Forced all of this on her. And quat. Tonight it is. And quat. I say, deciding to give her back a little control. And quat. If you would prefer to stay behind, or both of us to stay behind, I can muster up an excuse. And quat. It's true. It would be easy to skip this dinner with a simple lie. To them, we are recently mated, and it would be perfectly reasonable to say we got carried away or were too exhausted. And quat. No. And quat. She says, shaking her head. And quat. I'll be fine. And quat. And quat. You are sure? And quat. I check once more. Yes. She presses her hand to my chest, and I know she can feel my fast beating heart. Her eyes soften, but she says nothing. Instead, she hides a smile and steps past me, heading to the door. And quat. Are you ready? And quat. And quat. Yes. And quat. I say, clearing my throat and moving toward her, as she slips her feet into a pair of small heels. And quat. Remember, we are in love. I will be close to you the entire evening, and if you need to escape, you only need to lean in and whisper. These people they can be a lot. You thought I was a monster being the alpha of death? You are about to come face to face with people who will smile while they cut you open. And quat. Her face pales, but she squares her shoulders and sets her lips. She is damn cute when she puts a warrior face on. And quat. I am the llama of the werewolves and lycans. And quat. She says firmly. And quat. They don't scare me, not when you are at my side. And quat. I can't tell if she means it or not, and I chose not to dissect it 100 much because, true or not, those words are what I have needed to hear from a mate for so long. My heart feels lighter and my lycan purrs with delight as I reach down and take her hand in mine, entwining our fingers. And quat. Well then, Luna Letty. And quat. I give her a wink using the name she announced herself as Luna with. And quat. Let's go have dinner with some monsters. And quat. She clings to my hand, reaching over and grabbing my bicep as well, pulling herself closer as we enter the dining area. Everyone is chatting merrily, laughter floating through the large space before it stops and all eyes land on us. Johannes smirks, and Florence rolls her eyes while the others look at us with a mild curiosity. And quat. Oh wonderful. And quat. Florence groans, sitting roughly back in her seat. And quat. There are 2 spots over here, Johannes says with a devious smirk, pulling a chair closer to him. I growl vibrates through my chest as Florence laughs and the others watch in silence. It's strange how the others don't join in, but I assume they are already fed up with these 2. It doesn't take much. And quat. Enough. And quat. A deep, tired voice says from behind us. I turn and watch as Caspian, who was supposed to be coming late into this whole charade, saunters into the dining room. Everyone seems to grow stiff, Johannes glancing away and Florence's cheeks grow red in embarrassment. And quat. Caspian. And quat. Florence says, shaking her hair out and flashing a quick smile. And quat. We weren't expecting you for at least another week. And quat. And quat. I moved things around. And quat. He says, walking past us, giving Colette and one a sideways glance. He commands the presence of everyone in his navy shirt and linen pants with a stern look. He smells of the ocean breeze and I glance at Colette, who watches him curiously. Who is this? And what? He asks, taking his seat, then looking up at me. And what? This is my Luna, I announce, and he frowns, tilting his head. And what? A new one. Already? And what? And what? It's been 3 years. And what? I say. And what? And what? And you are well aware. She was a traitor and killed my father. And what? And what? I suppose that doesn't inspire much of an undying loyalty. And what? He frowns. And what? Sit. Eat. We will have a long first meeting tomorrow. And what? I look and see 2 seats on opposite ends of the table and I tense, not happy about splitting up from Colette. She glances up at me, fear-filled eyes, and I decide to take a drastic measure. One, drag her with me to the seat sitting to the left of Casplan and I sit. Then I wrap my arms around her waist and tug her into my lap. She feels tense at first until I pull her hair to the side and kiss the bare skin between her shoulder blades. She shivers, then relaxes, leaning back into me as I nuzzle her neck. And what? Is the chair next to Johannes not good enough for her? And what? Florence spits at us and Colette snaps her head in her direction. And what? You can speak to me directly? And no, I will not stoop so low as to sit next to a soulless monster who steals mates for their own fun. And what? Colette growls. I squeeze her tighter in gratitude, loving this savvy Luna. And how she stands up for her kind, and me. Everyone is silent until Caspian chuckles and shakes his head. And what? I like her better than the other one. And what? He admits. Pride swells in my chest at his words, knowing firsthand how far she has come, how hard she has worked to grow her confidence. And what? She is something else, that's for sure. And what? I say, meeting her gaze over her shoulder as her cheeks grow pink at the compliment. I catch Caspian looking at her, then casting his tired, worn eyes down at the plate served in front of him. And what? Hold on to her, the mate bond is one thing I have always admired about your kind. There is nothing quite like it. And what? He says softly, once again sliding a sideways glance in our direction. And what? Do you have a queen? And what? Colette asks sweetly, and he freezes. And what? No. And what? He sighs, taking a swing of the goblet next to him. And what? No, I have not been fortunate enough to find my queen. And what? I know it's a lie. But few of us know that truth. Hell, until recently, I believed my kind was the only kind to know Caspian's heartbreaking truth. He had a queen once, and a little princess too. He lost them both. Murdered when he was away kingdom trying to change laws that kept him from his girls. Or so he thinks. But as I mentioned, I know the truth. His queen may be gone, but his princess is alive and thriving. And she is sitting tucked away on my lap. And what? Colette POV. I can't help but feel bad for Caspian, as he looks away from me, unable to look me in the eye. It's obvious that he may not have a queen now, but at one point there was someone he cared for, loved maybe. I tilt my head, taking in his graying hair and the way his skin seems to glisten as if he dusted with a soft morning dew. He is a handsome man, looking dashing in his expensive clothes as he eats in his silence, but king of the council or not, he is still a man, or part man. And what? What is it like? And what? I ask, making him pause mid-bite. And what? The ocean. And what? He places his spoon down. Caspian turns in his chair to face me, his curious eyes taking in my face, a spark of interest in his deep grays. And quat. That's a strange question, and quat. He says. But the malice isn't there. Instead he places his elbows on the table and leans on them, watching me with a curious glint in his eyes. Just that I've never been to the ocean before. And quat. I give him a soft smile. And quat. I've always wondered what it feels like or even looks like under the waves. And quat. And quat. It's a shame you haven't experienced for yourself. And quat. He says, returning my smile. And quat. The ocean is. And quat. Wet, and smells of fish. And quat. Florence interrupts, mumbling into her glass of whatever alcohol can get supernatural beings drunk. I'm not entirely sure they can get drunk, but with how she acts, she has to be drunk all the time. And quat. My first time being near a body of water was when I came to my new pack. And quat. I say, ignoring Florence and reminiscing about the lake that instantly made me feel at home. The way the water just calmed me. The sound, the feel, having it near me. And quat. And did you enjoy it? And quat. I nod, giddily. And quat. The water is magical. And quat. And quat. It is indeed. And quat. He gives me a tight smile, before clearing his throat. I glance around the table. Everyone's eyes are on us, watching me like I am spinning some bee, ready to catch Caspian and drag him away or something. Then he sits back in his chair, looking between me and Merrick before he clears his throat once more and picks up his utensils again, then straightens himself out to eat the rest of his dinner. You trained this dog better than the last one, he mutters, before scooping up food and pushing it into his mouth. My jaw drops and Merrick's arm tightens around me, a warning not to say any more. My gaze once again slides around the table, taking in all the unfamiliar faces who try not to stare or gawk at me and my embarrassed, red cheeks. And quat. This is my Luna, Caspian. And quat. Merrick says in a low, threatening voice. And quat. Your point. And quat. He sighs, annoyed. And quat. She is not a dog, nor is she someone for you to judge and put down. And quat. And quat. Please, you think we don't see this pathetic attempt to make her dazzle me by speaking about the fucking water so you can earn your spot on the council? I am not stupid. If she is your mate, your true Luna, then where is your mark, Merrick? And quat. He asks, turning his head and looking at my neck. He observes both sides. And quat. I don't see it. And quat. And quat. Our marks do not always go where others can see them. And quat. Merrick tells him. And quat. Oh, come on. That's bullshit and you know it. And quat. Johannes heckles from his side of the table. And quat. You marked Lauren on the neck. Are you not as fond of this one? Because Florence and I would take her for you. And quat. Shut up, Johannes. And quat. Caspian growls. And quat. Must you always bring up that dreadful dead bitch? Johannes stands abruptly, his chair toppling to the floor as he slams his fists on the table. And quat. Sit down. Caspian hisses. I watch as Johannes' eyes flicker a darker red before he pushes off in anger and collects his chair. And quat. He is right. And quat. A bearded man draws out, crossing his arms over his broad chest as he sits back, his eyes boring into mine. And quat. We all know lycans are possessive. Your kind wants the world to know what belongs to them. And quat. I scoff, rolling my eyes and I force Merrick's hand from my waist angrily. I scowl, looking around the table, annoyed and nervous. These People are all full of themselves and such assholes, including Caspian, who I mistakenly got the vibe might be a decent person. Everyone here is so full of themselves and self-important that it is a wonder that anyone is ever safe or that the council even serves a real purpose. And quat, should I hike up my dress to show you my mark? And quat, I offer, reaching for the hem, pulling it up an inch, showcasing more skin that I am used to. Merrick growls, jumping up as Florence giggles and Caspian looks at me arching a brow in curiosity. And quat, I think we would rather not see it, and quat, he says. After a moment, Merrick moves himself in front of me, his eyes blazing in anger, and I furrow my brows, confused. Why would he be upset about me calling their bluff to help us? And quat, speak for yourself, Florence says with a gleeful grin. And quat, show me the mark, baby girl, and quat, your mark is only for me to see, and quat, Merrick hisses, bending down so our faces are close together. His nose lightly brushes over mine, a warning in his eyes. And quat, sit, eat your food. You will want all the nourishment you can get before we sit and argue for a month about why you will never be on the council again. Caspian sighs. I press my hands to Merrick's chest, giving myself space as I look him in the eyes, then nod to the chair. He doesn't budge until I gently push him a second time, and his lips twitch in frustration before he sits and opens his arms to welcome me back on his lap. His muscular forearm wraps around me like a seatbelt, tucking me as close as humanly possible to him. I wiggle, trying to get comfortable, but freeze when I hear a pained groan and feel something pressing into my butt cheek. I slide him a glance over my shoulder, shocked, and he gives me a wry smile. He dips his head, his lips finding the top of my shoulder, before pressing a kiss to my heated skin. I need to remind myself I am mad at him, that our relationship is built on a broken foundation with no trust, but damn if I can't help but want to melt into him. And quat, how did you two meet? Seeing as you are obviously second chance mates, which is a little rare for your kind. Correct, and quat, a blonde-haired woman asks, drawing my attention. I give her a soft smile. And quat, it's not crazy rare, but it's not an everyday occurrence. And quat, I smile. And quat, Merrick came to my pack to mate with the Alpha's daughter Lofa, before getting NG squeeze from Merrick too. Continue on. And quat, and you discovered you were mates. And quat, she finishes and I chuckle. And quat, something like that. And quat, I say softly, leaning back into the wall of a man behind me. And quat, I discovered my first mate in the Alpha's daughter's bed. He got her pregnant and then rejected me. Merrick and I obviously refused her, and I was traded in her place. At his insistence. Of course. And quat, how romantic, and quat, she says, clutching her chest with a genuine smile on her lips. And quat, it's been a whirlwind, and quat, Merrick mutters and one bark out a laugh, thinking back on what feels like so long ago. Then I shake my head and look down, noticing the plates before us. A little shocked that I didn't see them arrive, but I grab a fork and cut into the roasted chicken breast. As I take a bite, relishing the tender meat, there is shouting down the hallway that has everyone looking around. And quat, oh great, Brent is here. And quat, Johannes says. And quat, does the wizard get under your skin, vamp? And quat, Florence asks with a giddy grin. And quat, enough. Eat, then go about your business. I am tired of the bickering, especially when we all know what the first meeting will turn into by the end. And quat, I furrow my brow, not really sure what will happen, but based on everyone taking a drink from their cups and avoiding eye contact with anyone, it seems tomorrow will be very much like this dinner. As long as I'm not a part of it, it could be fun. Merrick leans forward, one arm around my waist and the other feeding himself. I take his lead, devouring my food in silence before pressing back into him again and watching the others chat amongst themselves. As everyone finishes their meals, they leave in silence, either wandering to the deck outside and mingling or disappearing down the hallways. Merrick helps me off his lap, taking his hand in mine as he leads me back to the room, closing the door behind us and releasing a heavy sigh. All of his tension evaporates as he spins and looks at me. And quat, so how'd that feel? And quat, he asks. I shrug. And quat, not entirely different from dinner in my old pack, except at least here I had almost actual conversation. Who is the blonde woman? And quat, I ask. And quat, the one that was asking me about how we found each other. And quat, she doesn't matter. What matters is what the hell were you going to do if they called your bluff? And quat, he growls, crossing the room to me as I take steps backward to escape him. And quat, they didn't. And quat, I remind him. And quat, if they had, it would have gotten us both killed. You understand that, right? I would have killed every fucking one of them I could for seeing what wasn't theirs to see. And quat, I bite back a smile, trying to hide the thrilling shiver that zips through my body with his possessive nature over me. No one has ever really wanted me before, all of me. I mean, he has acted this way with Grady, but for him to be this way with people that are equal to him, it's a little exciting and kind of a turn on. And quat, it won't happen again. And quat, I tell him, and he drags a hand over his face. And quat, I'm sorry, it's just after everything with. And quat, he pauses and frowns at me and I sigh. He is talking about Grady. Would he still feel this way if he knew the truth? If he knew I picked him and that it was an easy decision? I higher my lip, but my damn mouth has a mind of its own since becoming his Luna. And quat, Merrick, I didn't kiss Grady back. I slapped him and told him to leave. And quat, I blurt out. Merrick freezes, his eyes full of shock and wonder. And quat, I saw you two kissing. And quat, he tries to argue, but I close the short distance between us now, pressing my hand to his cheek. And quat, he kissed me and I was stunned. The second I realized what was happening, I shoved him back and slapped him. You can alpha command me to tell you the truth. And quat, he pauses, thinking about it for a moment. I want him to trust me, to take my word for it because, damn it, it's the freaking truth. My chest aches with anticipation, my eyes flitting from one to the other, trying to predict what is going to happen next. And quat, it is easier if I don't believe you. And quat, he murmurs, and my heart shatters. I don't know why it does. I knew what his response would be. Merrick's trust issues have trust issues. Asking for such a big thing from him was a long shot, but I still find myself so disappointed. And quat, you mean you still don't trust me? Merrick, you could just command the truth. Under the oath, I can't lie to you, right? And quat, he steps away from me, moving to the bathroom, stopping in the doorway. And quat, you think the kiss is the only issue? The fact remains, you still lied to my face, Colette. And quat, he whispers before disappearing, leaving me behind to force the tears away and reflect on what I know was wrong. Chapter 30. Heavens, I needed this. No, I've dreamed of this, running in wolf form along a beautiful river with the moon still hung in the sky, speaking life into my very soul. I can't recall the last time I ever enjoyed my wolf's form in this manner. I was always too weak to let her out more than once or twice a year, and that was only if I could get her to come out. For most wolves, they would go crazy, driving their human to the brink of insanity, but my wolf was always so far out of reach. It's not since moving to Merrick's that we are strong enough to handle a shift on command. Not since being away from my old pack and the poison I am sure she was putting in my food. I trot to the edge of the water, peeking at the mirror-like surface and checking out my healthy coat of dark gray fur. It looks almost iridescent in the bright moonlight, and I spin, giving myself a full look before a sense of pride settles deep in my stomach. I'm perfect in wolf form. I'm no longer small or malnourished, just a happy, healthy, average wolf recharging under the full moon. Except I'm not average, I'm a Luna. And not just any Luna, but the lycan Luna. Not that I feel like one in the slightest. And quat, I'd love to know what you're thinking right now. And quat, someone says. I spin and growl, watching as Caspian saunters toward me, his hands in his pockets as he assesses me with a glint of familiarity. He tosses a bag at me and I catch it in my mouth, tilting my head to see what he wants. And quat, shift back and take a walk with me. And quat, he says, turning his back to me. After a moment of watching him curiously, he clears his throat and I decide maybe I can use this opportunity to do what Merrick has failed to do all this time. Win Caspian over in friendship. I shift into my human form, quickly, pulling out the garments inside and slipping into the softest yoga pants and sweatshirt I have ever touched. And quat, what did you want to talk about? And quat, I ask him, as I slip the now empty bag over my shoulder. Caspian turns to look at me, his hands in his pockets once more as he nods to his side, showing I should walk with him. And quat, come, and quat, he says softly, but I hesitate, thinking about Merrick's warning of not being able to trust anyone. Then again, Percy is in the shadows, so maybe it will be fine. And quat, I am not sure my mate will like this very much. I tell him and he chuckles softly. And quat, he knows you are in no danger with me. I have no desire to whisk you away from him, and you pose no immediate threat to my well-being, which would lead to me needing to kill you, I assure you. Letty, is it? And quat, yes, Letty, and quat, I say, smiling to myself. I don't really know why being called Letty sets my heart ablaze. Maybe it's because it signifies a new me. A stronger, braver version, one worthy of leading and being here just like anyone else. Either way, I can't help but feel pride in the new me and new name. And quat, well, Letty, I assure you I have only good intentions. I only wish to know you more. And quat, he smiles and I skeptically move to his side. We walk in awkward silence for a short time, the two of us absorbing the beautiful scenery. The air is still, and the full moon's light reflects off the glassy water, illuminating the night life around us. I can see little orbs of yellow and I swallow, fear creeping into my chest. Remembering the green orb that destroyed my heart with the intense realistic dream it wove in my mind. Why are you stopping? And quat, Caspian asks, looking around. I shake my head, my throat tight, and that feeling of watching my mom be ripped from the world in front of me resurfaces as I breathe roughly. And quat, Letty, and quat, His voice sounds distant, and it feels like I am being sucked back in. His hand touches my bicep and I jump back, inhaling sharply before I pull myself back from the cowering I was doing internally. No, I will not be that girl. The one with trauma so crippling I cannot enjoy the night. I refuse to let them take anything else from me. Fate has already done a good enough job of making my life painful. I am so damn sick of pain. And quat. Forgive me, and quat. I release a breath, my hand to my chest as I try to force my heart to calm itself. And quat. There is no need to apologize. Are you okay? Did something spook you? I promise you are safe, and quat. He tries to reassure me and frown. There is no way of knowing if I can actually trust Caspian. If I should tell him about the attacks that have been happening, would explaining it all do anything to break away at his ice heart? Then I remember, he won't do anything about it since we are not members of this council yet, but surely mentioning how someone is targeting me will show him how important us being on the council is, how much we, as a species, need their protection. And quat. I was recently attacked several times, actually, and I am working through those moments. And quat. I say, giving him a tight smile. And quat. Some things seem to trigger those memories. And quat. And quat. Ah, yes. I heard of your accident. And quat. He gives me a sad look, like he wishes he could apologize or offer me some sort of condolences. But that would be acknowledging blame. That we belong under the umbrella of safety with the other species, and he can't do that. Not yet. And quat. Oh, the accident is the least of my worries. And quat. I smile. And quat. I struggle with the dream weavers and what they placed in my head. Those are new to me, someone playing in my mind, changing what little memories I have of my dead loved ones to nightmares. And quat. The moment I start speaking, I find my anger grows. Speaking of this out loud, it's not just painful, but a startling truth that whoever was doing this isn't just trying to scare me. They are trying to scar me, make me bitter and angry. Anger is easier to manipulate and control. Anger makes a person predictable, yet unstable. You know how to make them react, and when they react, the only thing you don't know is how. And that's what they want from me. A reaction. And quat. Dream weavers. And quat. He asks, and I look up at him to see his furrowed brow. And quat. Ever have one play with your mind? And quat. I ask, and he shakes his head no. And quat. Count your lucky stars. You have your protection. And quat. And quat. Is it that bad? And quat. He asks, curious. I scoff out a dry laugh. If only he had even a semblance of understanding of what these other species can do, what it feels like to be on the receiving end. Then he might not wish to keep us all out. He might lay us into the council and spare my people what these other monsters have planned for us. For the sake of some fun. And quat. I have very few memories of my mother. And quat. I say with a heavy sigh, walking a little ahead of him. And quat. The ones I do have aren't happy or sweet. They are sad. But the dream weavers entered my mind, toying with my memories, distorting them so that those last few moments I have with her in my head or of her death, a death I know I did not witness. And quat. And quat. How do you know that is not the truth? And quat. He asks, arching a brow. I tilt my head, truly understanding how much he doesn't know about the other species. How can he be the king when he doesn't know what these monsters are capable of? How they act and treat those they deem lesser than them in the name of fun? and quote, there are ways to determine what is real, and quote, I say, and quote, but that doesn't erase the jagged point of a spear breaking through my mother's chest, covered in her blood while she blames me for her death, no matter how easily I can determine it was false. That image lives there. That moment I had with her shattered in my heart and in my mind forever because someone wanted to lure me away from my home, away from the safety of my mate, and quote, and quote. Why are you so sure they don't want to save you, and quote, he asks with furrowed brows. His silver streaks in his hair look so much more defined when he stands in the moonlight. His chin jutted out the side in serious thought. And quote, you don't save someone by trying to hurt them, and quote, and quote. You were not injured, were you, and quote, he asks, sounding genuinely concerned. And quote, that time no, but I was injured the first time. They crashed into our vehicles and dragged me out by my broken leg. My femur was shattered and the only person who was there to help me was Merrick. He was ready to die to protect me, to bring me home, and quote, and quote. I hate to say this, but there are many who do not like your mate, Letty, and quote. He frowns and I hark out a laugh, and quote. He is abrasive, but he is loyal to his own downfall. Merrick is broken, but he is trying. We all are, and it's all for this person who is after me. What reason do you think they would want me? And quote. I ask him, and quote. I cannot say, and quote. He responds by shaking his head and shrugging, and quote. I can. They want to hurt Merrick to break him beyond repair and ruin him, and I will not let them. And quote, and quote. And you think it is the same person? And quote, and quote. I know it is, and quote. I tell him resolutely, and quote. Oh, and how could you possibly know that if you don't know who it is, and quote. Werewolves don't have red, glowing eyes, and quote. I snort, and quote. Neither do lycans. And they do not attack their new lunar and lycan king. How many species can manipulate what others do and how they act, and quote, and quote. In a way, almost all of them, and quote. He admits, and quote. But wouldn't that mean that it could be anyone both times? That it could be separate attacks? You said yourself one was a dream weaver, and the other was wolves with red eyes. He seems to be in deep thought as he speaks, and quote. The dream weaver led me to the border in my sleep. At the border, waiting for me, was a crowd of red-eyed wolves. Do you think two separate parties would use the same exact people if they were not working together, and quote. He pauses for a moment, his lips pressing together in a thin line, and quote. Why are you telling me all of this? Are you trying to play to my sympathies and manipulate me? And quote. He asks, arching a brow. I shake my head, smiling at him. And quote. No. No, I am informing you, out of respect for the position you hold, that someone here on your honorable council is a coward. I want you to know that I am hunting them. And quote. And quote. They are protected, no matter what or who they are. They are under the protection of the council. Killing any of the members would get you exiled, and quote, and quote. What good is that punishment when we are already exiled, and quote. I remind him with a small smirk.